Beloved of the Lord, January is over, and a new chapter is waiting for you. Can you feel it? February is not just another month. It is your appointed time for breakthrough, favor, and divine acceleration. Tell me, are you ready to step into what God has prepared for you? Sometimes we hold on to the past, the missed opportunities, the struggles, and the delays. But what if I told you that God is saying today, this is your month? Can you hear that promise ringing in your heart right now? I want you to take a moment and think, what doors are you ready for God to open? Beloved of the Lord, February is your month for divine breakthroughs. Can you feel that stirring in your spirit right now? Sometimes we move from one month to another without realizing that God has a fresh plan, a new strategy, and a unique blessing reserved for us. I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, are you ready to recognize the doors that God is opening for you this month? A breakthrough is more than just a change in circumstance. It is a divine shift in favor, in opportunity, and in momentum. It is when what has been delayed finally begins to move. Tell me, have you been praying and waiting, wondering if your breakthrough will ever come? God is saying today that February is a month of movement. A month where your prayers align with His promises and your faith positions you to receive what has been destined for you. Think about the areas of your life where you've been stuck. Maybe it's in your finances, your relationships, your career, or even your health. Can you visualize that area being transformed, renewed, and released from limitation? This month, God is inviting you to step into a new level of victory. Breakthrough doesn't always mean an instant miracle. Sometimes it means doors begin to open. People start to come into alignment with your destiny. And favor begins to flow in ways you never expected. Are you ready to notice these shifts when they appear in your life? Sometimes we feel like God has forgotten us or that our prayers are going unheard. But let me assure you, beloved, He is always working behind the scenes. Have you paused long enough to see the invisible hand of God arranging your circumstances for your benefit? February is a month to recognize that divine orchestration. It is a time to stand firm in faith, even when the evidence hasn't yet caught up with your expectation. This is the moment to declare boldly, I will not be delayed. I will not be defeated. February is my month. Beloved, breakthroughs often require persistence, prayer, and a willingness to align your heart with God's vision. Ask yourself, are you ready to let go of anything that might block this divine movement? Are you ready to release fear, doubt, or past disappointments that may have held you back? God is calling you to a higher place, a place where your faith is awakened, your prayers are empowered, and your steps are guided. As you step into this month, consider this: what if the breakthrough you've been waiting for is already on its way? What if God has already begun to rearrange situations, open doors, and align people for your benefit? Can you imagine the joy, the relief, and the victory that will fill your heart when you see His promises manifest? Beloved, this is not just hopeful thinking. This is the reality of a God who never fails, who never forgets, and who delights in blessing His children. February is also a month for spiritual breakthrough. Are there areas in your heart, mind, or spirit that need freedom, restoration, or renewal? God is ready to move in ways that will release you from limitation and catapult you into your destiny. Beloved, ask yourself right now, what is the one area in my life where I need a breakthrough the most? Can you picture God's favor flooding into that area and changing everything? It's important to remember that breakthroughs often come when we step into action in faith. Are you willing to take the first step, even if it feels small or uncertain? Sometimes the first step is simply believing that God's word is true, that His promises are real, and that February is indeed your appointed month for divine favor. Are you ready to walk boldly into that belief today? Beloved, breakthroughs also bring clarity. When God moves on your behalf, confusion lifts, doors appear, and pathways are illuminated. Can you feel that clarity starting to settle over your mind and your heart right now? Have you been feeling stuck, unsure, or unsure about the next steps? February is a month where God's light will guide you, where His wisdom will direct your choices, and where His favor will propel you forward. Finally, remember that breakthrough is not only for you, it is for the glory of God and for the encouragement of others. As you experience His power this month, consider how your story might inspire someone else. Who do you know that needs to hear that February can be their month too? Can you share your hope, your faith, and your testimony with someone today? Beloved, every breakthrough you receive is a seed for greater impact, a testimony for God's glory, and a reminder that His promises are always on time. Beloved of the Lord, releasing the past and stepping into God's new season is one of the most powerful acts of faith you can take. Tell me, have you been carrying the weight of yesterday into today, holding on to things that are meant to stay behind? Sometimes we are so focused on what didn't happen, on missed opportunities or moments of disappointment, that we forget God is inviting us into something new. Can you feel Him nudging you, saying, "Let it go and step forward with me"? Letting go is not always easy. Our hearts often cling to familiar things, even when they no longer serve us. But beloved, what if the very thing you're holding on to is keeping you from your divine breakthrough? Have you thought about that possibility today? God's new season is waiting for you, and it cannot fully manifest if your hands are still tied to the old. Imagine the freedom that comes when you finally release the past, forgive yourself, and forgive others. Can you picture the lightness in your spirit when that burden is gone? Stepping into a new season requires trust. It's an act of faith to believe that God has a plan that is greater than anything you've experienced before. Tell me, are you ready to trust Him fully, even when the path forward isn't yet visible? Sometimes faith means moving even when you don't have all the answers, walking forward simply because you know the one who leads you is faithful. Have you paused long enough to acknowledge God's faithfulness in your life so far? Beloved, God's seasons are designed with precision. There is a time for planting, a time for harvesting, and a time for everything in between. Are you willing to let go of what belongs to the past so you can fully embrace what God is orchestrating for your future? The new season He is inviting you into is filled with opportunities, favor, and divine encounters that were not possible in the old season. Can you feel the excitement in your spirit as you consider what might be waiting for you? Often, releasing the past involves confronting emotions, memories, or relationships that have shaped us. Are you willing to face these honestly, knowing that God wants to heal and restore every part of you? Beloved, the process of letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of strength, a step toward freedom, and an act of obedience to God. What areas of your life need to be surrendered so that God's new season can take root? Sometimes the past whispers in our ears, reminding us of failure or regret. Beloved, God's voice is louder. He is calling you forward, inviting you to step into the fullness of what He has prepared. Have you taken a moment to quiet your mind and listen for that gentle yet powerful whisper? When you do, you will feel the encouragement, the peace, and the assurance that the past does not define you. Stepping into a new season also means embracing change. Change can be uncomfortable. It is often necessary for growth. Tell me, are you ready to embrace the unfamiliar, knowing that God's plan is perfect? Sometimes growth requires leaving behind old habits, mindsets, or patterns that have kept you small. Beloved, what if letting go of the old is exactly what will allow you to flourish in ways you never imagined? As you release the past, you also make room for new blessings. Can you see it, beloved? There is space in your life for favor, joy, and opportunities that were not accessible before. God's new season is abundant, and He is inviting you to step in boldly and claim it. Have you ever thought about how much more God can do in your life when you stop carrying yesterday's burdens? Beloved, it's important to recognize that God is with you every step of the way. You are not walking into this new season alone. Can you feel His presence surrounding you, guiding your steps, and leading you into what He has for you? The past may have been heavy, but His hand is ready to lift you. His power is ready to strengthen you, and His love is ready to restore you. Are you willing to receive that today? When you finally let go and step forward, you position yourself to receive divine favor, guidance, and blessings that are unique to this new season. Tell me, what does that future look like for you in your mind's eye? Can you see yourself walking confidently, knowing that the old has passed and the new is here? Beloved, this is your moment to embrace transformation, to step into freedom, and to claim the abundant life God has prepared just for you. Beloved of the Lord, expect doors to open that were previously closed. Can you feel that promise stirring in your heart today? Sometimes we've been standing in the same place for so long, wondering why opportunities haven't come, why answers haven't arrived, and why change feels so slow. Tell me, have you ever felt like God's timing is delayed in your life? Like the breakthrough should have happened yesterday. The truth is, God's doors always open at the right time. There may have been seasons when every door seemed shut, when rejection or disappointment seemed to surround you. But beloved, God has been working behind the scenes, aligning people, circumstances, and resources to bring you into your next season. Can you take a moment and picture a door opening in your life right now, one that you've been praying for, waiting for, believing for? Doors open in different ways. Sometimes it is a new job, a new relationship, a new opportunity, or a fresh vision for your purpose. Tell me, what area of your life are you most anticipating a door to open? Is it finances, family, career, or maybe even personal growth? Whatever it is, God is reminding you today that He is in control and nothing is too difficult for Him. Beloved, the key to seeing these doors open is preparation. Are you ready to align your heart, your mind, and your actions with God's plan? Sometimes doors remain closed because we are not yet prepared to step through them. But when your heart is ready, your faith is aligned, and your spirit is receptive, God will swing doors wide open in ways that leave you amazed. Can you feel that excitement rising inside you as you imagine what is coming? It's also important to recognize that God's doors are not always what we expect. Sometimes we pray for one thing, and God opens a door that is even greater than we imagined. Tell me, are you willing to embrace His plan, even if it doesn't look like what you envisioned? Beloved, trust that His ways are higher than your ways, and His timing is perfect. What if the closed doors you've been facing were actually guiding you towards something far better? Expecting doors to open requires faith. Are you ready to believe that what has been locked will now be unlocked for your benefit? Faith is the key that allows you to step confidently toward the unknown, knowing that God has already gone ahead of you. Sometimes the first step through a door is the hardest because it requires letting go of fear, doubt, or old habits. Have you identified what is holding you back from walking boldly into your new season? Beloved, when doors open, they often lead to divine connections and unexpected favor. Can you imagine meeting people this month who bring guidance, resources, or encouragement into your life? God's timing is perfect, and He uses every encounter, every relationship, and every opportunity to position you for success. Tell me, are you ready to recognize these divine connections when they appear in your path? Sometimes the doors God opens are meant to stretch you, challenge you, or take you out of your comfort zone. Are you willing to step through even when it feels risky, uncertain, or unfamiliar? Remember, the greatest blessings often come on the other side of faith. Beloved, think about what you've been missing because you were afraid to take that step. What would it feel like to finally move forward and embrace all that God has prepared for you? Expect doors to open that were previously closed also requires gratitude. Are you willing to celebrate the small victories along the way even before the full blessing arrives? Beloved, when you thank God for the doors that are opening, you invite His favor and multiply the opportunities He places before you. Can you feel the joy in your spirit as you imagine walking through doors you once thought were locked forever? It's also a month of clarity. Beloved, as doors begin to open, God will show you the paths you were meant to walk and the places He wants you to go. Are you ready to see with fresh eyes, to recognize the opportunities that were invisible before? Sometimes clarity comes in quiet moments of prayer, in the encouragement of friends, or in a sudden realization that God's plan has been unfolding all along. Tell me, are you paying attention to the subtle ways God is guiding you? As doors open, expect transformation. The opportunities, relationships, and experiences you encounter will shape your future in ways you may not even imagine. Beloved, are you ready to receive not just what you asked for, but what God knew you truly needed? Sometimes what we think we want is limited, but God's blessings are abundant, overflowing, and life-changing. Can you feel the anticipation in your heart for the doors He is opening this month? Beloved, expect doors to open that were previously closed. Tell me, can you sense the shift in your life, the change that is about to take place? When you trust God, align with His plan, and move forward in faith, nothing can hold you back. Every door that opens is a testimony of His love, His faithfulness, and His divine purpose for your life. Can you feel the excitement building as you envision stepping boldly into what He has prepared just for you? Beloved of the Lord, position yourself to receive favor, blessings, and answers this February. Can you feel that invitation deep in your spirit today? Sometimes we wait for blessings to come to us passively, thinking that God's favor will simply fall into our laps. But beloved, favor requires alignment. It requires us to step into the place where God's hand can touch our lives. Tell me, are you willing to position yourself right now, in your heart and in your actions, to fully receive what He has for you? Positioning yourself begins with expectation. Do you believe that God has a special season of favor prepared just for you? Too often, we settle for less than what God intends because we don't fully expect Him to move. But beloved, when you expect His blessings, when you anticipate His favor, your spirit opens to receive it in ways you've never imagined. Can you picture yourself standing in that place of expectancy today? It also requires faith. Are you ready to believe that your prayers, your dreams, and your desires are being answered even before you see them? Sometimes, answers come in ways that are beyond our understanding, in timing and forms we cannot yet comprehend. Beloved, faith positions you to walk through doors of opportunity that were previously closed. Can you see yourself stepping boldly into that space where God's favor meets your life? Positioning yourself to receive also involves readiness. Tell me, are you prepared to act on the opportunities that God places before you? Sometimes favor comes with responsibility. It requires us to move, to make decisions, and to take steps that align with His will. Beloved, what is one action you can take today to align yourself with God's plan and receive His blessings fully? Receiving blessings also requires surrender. Are you willing to let go of control and trust God with the outcome? Sometimes we try to manipulate circumstances or force doors open. True favor comes when we surrender our plans to His perfect plan. Beloved, what would it look like for you to release every worry, every doubt, and every fear that could block your breakthrough? Can you imagine the peace and freedom that would bring? Positioning yourself also includes declaring God's promises over your life. Tell me, have you spoken over your month, your season, and your destiny? Words have power, and when we declare His word in faith, we create alignment between heaven and earth. Beloved, what promises are you ready to speak over your life today? Can you feel the energy and the anticipation that comes when you declare His favor boldly? It's important to recognize that favor often brings alignment with divine timing. Are you willing to wait with patience, even when the process seems slow? Beloved, God's timing is always perfect. Sometimes the blessing is already on its way. You must be positioned in the right season, in the right place, and with the right mindset to receive it. Can you feel the hope rising as you trust Him to move at the exact right moment? Positioning yourself also involves generosity and readiness to bless others. Tell me, are you ready to extend kindness, encouragement, and support, knowing that God multiplies what you give? Favor often flows when we operate from a place of generosity, understanding, and humility. Beloved, what is one way you can plant seeds of favor today that will bring blessings back to you in abundance? Receiving answers requires patience and discernment. Can you take a moment to consider what answers you've been waiting for spiritually, emotionally, or practically? God is ready to respond, but positioning yourself to receive requires attentiveness, prayer, and a heart aligned with His will. Beloved, are you listening for His voice, and are you willing to follow it wherever it leads? Faithful positioning also means preparing for increase. Tell me, are you ready to manage the blessings that God is bringing your way? Sometimes favor comes with opportunities, resources, and responsibilities that require wisdom. Beloved, what steps can you take now to ensure that you are ready to handle all that God is releasing into your life? Can you envision yourself walking into abundance with grace, gratitude, and wisdom? Beloved, positioning yourself also strengthens your spiritual authority. As you receive favor and blessings, you step into a place where your prayers have greater impact, your influence grows, and your life becomes a testimony of God's power. Can you feel that shift happening in your spirit right now? Are you ready to see how God uses this month not only for your benefit, but to inspire and encourage others around you? Finally, positioning yourself to receive favor, blessings, and answers requires continuous alignment with God's word, His will, and His spirit. Tell me, are you ready to commit to daily prayer, reflection, and obedience so that you remain in the flow of His favor? Beloved, every step you take in alignment with God opens the door wider for His blessings to flow into your life. Can you sense the anticipation, the movement, and the excitement as you step fully into what He has prepared for you this month? If you want, I can now expand Keynote 5 into 800 words in the same style, so your full motivational speech will be complete and ready to deliver. Do you want me to do that next? Beloved of the Lord, declare with faith that this month belongs to you. Can you feel the power of that statement resonating in your spirit today? Sometimes we wait for life to happen to us, for circumstances to change, or for someone else to give us permission to step into our destiny. But beloved, God has called you to speak life over your season, to declare boldly that February is your appointed time for favor, breakthroughs, and divine acceleration. Tell me, are you ready to take authority over this month in faith? Declaring with faith begins in your heart. Do you truly believe that God is moving on your behalf? Beloved, the words you speak are seeds that shape your future. And when you declare God's promises over your life, you align yourself with His power and purpose. Can you imagine the shift that occurs when you move from doubt to declaration, from fear to faith? Faith-filled declarations require boldness. Are you ready to speak with confidence? Even if circumstances seem unchanged, sometimes we hesitate because we can't see the full picture. God is calling you to speak His truth anyway. Beloved, what would it feel like to declare victory over every area of your life that has been challenging, every situation that has been delayed, and every dream that has felt distant? Declaration also invites God's supernatural intervention. Tell me, have you ever noticed how situations begin to change the moment you speak faith-filled words? When you declare with confidence, you invite heaven to move on earth, opening doors, shifting circumstances, and releasing favor in ways you never imagined. Beloved, can you feel that momentum beginning to rise in your spirit right now? Sometimes declaring with faith means claiming victory even before you see it. Are you willing to trust that God's promises are real and that your breakthrough is already on the way? Beloved, when you speak in faith, you position yourself to receive, and you create alignment between heaven and earth. What areas of your life are you ready to boldly claim today? Declaration also requires consistency. Are you willing to keep speaking life, truth, and faith-filled words over your month, even when challenges arise? Beloved, persistence in declaration strengthens your faith, builds expectation, and reinforces your alignment with God's plan. Can you imagine the cumulative effect of declaring daily that February is your month of favor and breakthroughs? Beloved, declarations shape your mindset. Tell me, are you ready to replace fear, doubt, and worry with words of power, hope, and confidence? When you speak faith-filled words, your mind aligns with God's promises. Your heart opens to receive His blessings, and your spirit becomes sensitive to His guidance. What changes could happen in your life if you declared God's favor over every circumstance, every relationship, and every opportunity? Speaking with faith also inspires others. Can you think of someone who needs to hear your words of faith today? When you declare victory, breakthrough, and favor, you become a testimony to those around you. Beloved, who in your circle is waiting for encouragement, hope, or inspiration that only your declaration can bring? Can you feel the responsibility and the blessing of being a vessel of hope for someone else? Faith-filled declarations also require trust in God's timing. Are you willing to continue declaring even when results seem delayed? Beloved, the power of your declaration does not depend on immediate evidence. It depends on your alignment with God's will and your belief in His promises. Can you sense the anticipation and the excitement as you trust Him to move in ways you cannot yet see? Beloved, declaration